of a square equals length of its side squared. The area of a square equals length of its side squared. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. In ipsa vita, et vita, et rod lux hominum. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. In ipsa vita, et rod lux hominum. The subject is that part of a sentence about which something is being said. The subject is that part of a sentence about which something is being said.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony led the women's suffrage movement in the United States, resulting in the 19th Amendment in 1920 that granted women the right to vote. Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony led the women's suffrage movement in the United States, resulting in the 19th Amendment in 1920 that granted women the right to vote. That granted women the right to vote.
This is CC, week 17 history for cycle 3. Tell me about the 19th Amendment. So you're going to start out with Elizabeth Cady Stanton. So you're going to make an ASLE for Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Susan, this is the S, Susan B. Anthony led the women's suffrage movement, okay, in the United States. Hand goes onto your chest, resulting in the 19th, this is the 19 sign, amendment in 1920, 2 and 0, that granted women the right to vote. So we'll start from the beginning again. Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony led the women's suffrage movement in the United States, resulting in the 19th Amendment in 1920 that granted women the right to vote.
5 boron, B11, 6 carbon, C12, 7 nitrogen, N14, 8 oxygen, O16. 5 boron, B11, 6 carbon, C12, 7 nitrogen, N14, 8 oxygen, O16.
This week we'll be learning about the rivers on the east side. So the first one is the St. Lawrence River, which is right along here. Then the Ohio River, which is right along here. Then the Mississippi River, which comes up through here. The Missouri River, which goes all the way along here. And then the Arkansas River, which is right here. So now I ask and you point. Where is the St. Lawrence River? Where is the Ohio River? Where is the Mississippi River? Where is the Missouri River? Where is the Arkansas River? And now I point and you tell me. Here is our new song for this week. I've got St. Lawrence River from New York to Canada. The Ohio River wiggles with Kentucky, then heads north. The Mississippi River flows from Minnesota to Louisiana. The Missouri River, Montana to Missouri. The Arkansas River from Colorado to Arkansas, Arkansas. Norman conquest and feudalism in Europe, the Crusades, Zimbabwe, and early Mali and Africa, Aztecs of Mesoamerica, Francis of Assisi, Thomas Aquinas, Japan shoguns, Incas of South America,
Genghis Khan rules the Mongols. England's Magna Carta. Ottoman Empire. Marco Polo's journey to China. 100 Years' War and Black Death. The Renaissance. China's Ming Dynasty. Yes. Timeline, timeline, this is my timeline. Age of exploration, circa 1400 to circa 1600. Prince Henry founds the School of Navigation, slave trade in Africa. Gutenberg's printing press, Songhai in Africa. Tsar Ivan the Great of Russia, the Spanish Inquisition. Columbus sails to the Caribbean. 1500 AD, 1500 AD, age of absolute monarchs, circa 1500 to circa 1800. Protestant Reformation. Spanish conquistadors in the Americas. Calvin's Institute of the Christian Religion. Council of Trent. Baroque period of the arts. Japan's isolation. Jamestown and Plymouth Colony founded. Age of Enlightenment, circa 1650 to circa 1800. Hudson Bay Company, first great awakening. Classical period of the arts, the 7 Years' War. Phew. Timeline, timeline, this is my timeline. Age of industry, circa 1760 to circa 1969. James Cook sails to Australia and Antarctica. American Revolution and General George Washington. Madison's Constitution and the Bill of Rights. French Revolution, the Second Great Awakening. Louisiana Purchase and Lewis and Clark Expedition. Napoleon crowned Emperor of France. Liberation of South America, the War of 1812, the Missouri Compromise. Immigrants flock to America, the Monroe Doctrine, romantic period of the arts.
This is CC Week 17 timeline. It starts with Napoleon crowned Emperor of France. So you're gonna make an N sign for Napoleon. Napoleon crowned Emperor of France. So you're gonna make, this is your F and you're gonna flip it. The liberation of South, this is S, South America. The War of 1812. The Missouri Compromise, so you're just showing that you're compromising. Immigrants, so you're gonna come over, flock to America. The Monroe Doctrine, so you're kind of gonna hold your hands together like in fists, the Monroe Doctrine, because we're showing that the United States is expanding. And then the romantic period of the arts was the time of emotion, so you're just gonna make a sad face and a happy face. Romantic period of the arts. So let's start from the beginning again. Napoleon crowned Emperor of France. The liberation of South America. The War of 1812. The Missouri Compromise. Immigrants flock to America. The Monroe Doctrine. and the romantic period of the arts. Good luck.
Hi, Trenton.
Hi.
So today we're testing for starch. So we're testing for the presence of starch in different materials. So we have on this tray some cheese, some bread, an apple, a sugar pack, and a cracker, specifically a Ritz cracker. We also have a little iodine right there. All right, so we placed all of our testing samples on the cookie sheet, and now Trenton is going to place 1 drop of iodine on each of the testing samples. Okay, so let's look at the results. So it's either going to be blue, purple, or brown. So let's look at this bread. Hard to see with the light, but that looks really dark to me.
It looks pretty brown.
It looks brown? Well, look over here. That looks browner there than that. That looks more purple to me. That's the apple.
Sugar.
Sugar.
And
Cracker.
crackers.
That looks pretty purple to me.
And
That looks more brown to me. So we definitely have the cracker and the bread as purple. The sugar is more purple than the cheese.
the apple
And the
is
apple looks
very
brown to me. It says the paper, bread, and cracker. Oh, we didn't have paper. Whoops. What if we do the outside of this? We'll do paper. Can you just do
Okay.
this, the outside? So it says the paper, bread, and cracker turn dark blue purple. Yes, definitely. So we looked at our bread. That's definitely a dark blue purple. We looked at the cracker, definitely dark blue purple. Oh, and so that's not the sugar, that's the paper that the sugar was in. And that's a purple. But then the other ones are brown. See? And the reason why is because starch combines with iodine to form a dark blue purple compound. So a starchy compound would be bread, cracker, or paper. Only the samples containing starch turn dark blue purple where the iodine is added. What do you think?
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool, yeah. So now we know what has starch. Thanks, everyone.
Andrew Wyeth is one of the most famous artists living between 1917 and 2009. He was raised in a family dedicated to art. His father was a famous painter and illustrator of children's books. His brothers and sisters became artists, engineers, and musicians. Andrew's own son, Jamie, even became an important artist. So art definitely runs in his family. Wyeth is best known for his realistic paintings of the farming country in Pennsylvania where he was raised, and the rocky seacoast of Maine where he often lives. Many of his paintings are of very simple scenes like a dog in a field of grass, a loose curtain blowing in the breeze like this one, a tiny wildflower in the forest, or an old farm building. Wyeth's paintings are very natural and detailed, often in watercolor and tempera paint. Thank you, Andrew, for showing us the beauty in simplicity.